for 800 years. It's an integrated part of our country. It is not for sale. Let me put it in words you might understand. Mr. Trump, off.
All right. That sounded very MSNBC-ish, Brian. So what are your thoughts?
Well,
Can we get Greenland?
Here's what I like about it. First of all, that's definitely not the worst thing Donald Trump's ever heard in a negotiation.
It's wild.
If you think that's good, oh my gosh, did you just say that to me? My goodness.
Yeah.
Guess what's still happening here? The conversation is still happening. Okay, I don't know where we're going to end up with Greenland. Will we? End is not necessarily just to have it. It's to be better positioned in the world to defend U.S. interests. And, you know, there could be a lot of different ways to slice that. So what I love about this is President Trump is keeping it on the table. He's saying tough things. He's getting tough things said back to him. But so what? He's talking with the prime minister. He's talking with the people of Greenland. Marco Rubio's down at the Panama Canal. Something good is going to happen for America from this because he's willing to keep the conversation going, even if everyone else wants to tell him to, you know, whatever that guy told him.
Lisa, this is out-of-the-box thinking that we never heard over the last 4 years from Joe Biden after his brain turned to applesauce, basically. So
sure did.
All of that said, this is about leverage, isn't it? Like, will we really get the Panama Canal and Greenland, or is it a matter of having more access to the minerals and oil, for example, on Greenland without controlling it, or the Panama Canal in terms of driving the Chinese out of there?
I think it's all of the above. I mean, this is what America first looks like. I mean, we haven't had a president, as you pointed out, over the past 4 years. You can't practice deterrence when you have a president who probably uses Life Alert. So that's been our problem. And as a result of this weakness, we've seen China and Russia grow closer together. We've seen increased trade, particularly with Russia oil, also joint military operations as well between the two countries. And we've also seen, Russia obviously invade Ukraine. We've seen increased activity with China in the South China Sea, as well as with Taiwan. So both the Panama Canal and Greenland represent opportunities to counteract that, particularly China and Russia's presence in the Arctic with Greenland. You look at the Panama Canal, China operates, I think, 2 out of the 5 ports near the canal.
Right.
So what he sees the Panama Canal and Greenland as the opportunity to, I think, to put China and Russia on notice, as well as the rest of the move. So the rest of the country, or the world rather. So I see this as a very smart strategic thinking from the president.
Yeah. So Molly, you do a lot of field reporting. Isn't the right thing to do, if you're CBS, ABC, NBC, CNN, MSNBC, New York Times, Washington Post, to send reporters on the ground to Greenland, for example, and talk to people and say, would you rather be part of the U.S., where you don't have 95% of your economy subsidized by Denmark, or would you rather stay with Denmark? All I've seen is Fox reporters there, but not many else. So I would talk to the people more there and get a feel of what they feel, because ultimately they decide this thing.
Yeah, and credit to Alex Hogan and all of her team for getting there and getting in the ice and putting their boots on the ground. And maybe
it's not Boston.
It's probably a little warmer down in Canada. People will be trying to get the Panama trip. But Lisa, these are excellent points you guys have all made, that this is, of course, about trade and about money, and it's definitely about the Western Hemisphere, which goes back to the Monroe Doctrine. We're all going to be hearing a lot more about that from our lawmakers, talking about keeping the influence of places like China and Russia that are trying to reassert or insert to a greater degree their influence on us, on the Western Hemisphere. So it's not just about acquiring something. It's about drawing a bigger circle to say you're coming to places where you don't belong, and reasserting American interests in an American first agenda. So while this is sometimes being painted as like an expansionist view, America everywhere, that in reality, it's really about protecting American interests as they stand in this hemisphere and saying this is still our grand territory.
Well, and Lisa made a great point, too.
Thank you,
not
Brian.
just expansion. Let me tell you what it is.
Okay, great.
It's not just expansion, as he reminded me of this. Trump's trying to get in the middle of some things. He's trying to get in the middle of China and Panama. He's trying to get in the middle of Russia and whatever they're exploring in Greenland. So they want to make it about like, oh, he's out there, he's conquering the world. No. He's trying to undo some of the bad things that grew up. And it sounds expansionist, but it's really about pulling out some of the weeds, I would say. And that's a really important thing to start with.
I think you articulated that better than.
Yeah, I was just going to say, what he said.
Well, I wasn't fishing
I'm
for a
running on
compliment
Celsius
there.
right now.
It was a good point.
It's a mutual admiration society here, no question about it. Either way, selfishly, I want to see us take Greenland just so I can see Lisa Booth be put in charge of the Greenland Bureau.
I will
Florida's
go.
Lisa Booth.
I volunteer as tribute. So.
We'll see about that. Anyway, coming up next, are far left media outlets on their deathbeds? Rhetorical question. That's coming up next.